Hello, fifth graders. Mrs. Weaver here. Again, sorry, you're stuck with me still. We are going to do lesson 2 today in Rainforest Food Chain. It's going to be pages 12 through 19. Here are your Cornell Note questions for today. Number 1. What are some ways that animals and plants depend on one another? Oh no. What do you think? Guess we'll find out. Number 2, according to pages 14 through 15, where do rainforest plants find nutrients? Provide text evidence to support your answer. Please don't forget your evidence stems, quotation marks, kiddos. We've been doing this all year. The text states, comma, quotation mark, and word for word what you read in the book. Period, in quotation marks. Number 3, what is the difference between the food chain diagram on page 12 and the food chain diagram on page 16? Don't forget your summary. 5 to 8 sentences, big events that happened in the story. Capitalization, punctuation, transition words. I know you know what to do. Your teachers have taught you well. All 6 of us have done a great job teaching you the expectations. So now that we're doing this at home, don't forget to use those expectations we've taught you. Race, restate, answer, cite, explain. If you are on Google Classroom, open up the document so you can have that open, just like you would have your sheet of paper at school. Now you have it in an extra tab on your computer. If you don't have access to Google Classroom, it's okay. Get a sheet of notebook paper, pause this, write it down. Now we're going to move on to the story. All right, today we're doing what? Page 12 through 19? Okay, we can do that. Here we are on page 12. What are the producers in the rainforest? Producers, or plants, turn energy from the sun into food. This process is called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. Sorry, guys, this is like the 12th lesson I've done. It's going to happen. All producers need sunlight, water, carbon dioxide, and nutrients to grow. Plants contain chlorophyll, a substance that makes them green. Chlorophyll is made of protein that helps plants trap sunlight to use in photosynthesis. Producers are very important. All consumers depend on producers in some way. Some consumers eat producers. Some eat other consumers that eat producers. If the producers disappeared, the consumers would too. It would affect the entire food chain. Plant layers. Producers live at different layers of the rainforest. Tall evergreens reach 23 to 30 meters, 75 or 100 feet, to form the canopy. That is about as high as 13 to 16 people standing on each other's shoulders. Some very tall trees poke through this high canopy. This is called the emergent layer. Below the canopy is the understory. This is where smaller trees, plants, and shrubs grow. On the forest floor is a layer of ferns, mosses, and herbs. And here we have producers such as figs get their energy from the sun before being eaten by consumers. So right here, we have this food chain. And it's showing you producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, and then the decomposers. These are strangler figs. Some plants have unusual ways of taking in nutrients. Strangler figs are able to draw out nutrients from trees. Wind blows strangler fig seeds onto the treetop. From its treetop perch, it grows roots down the tree. These roots take in nutrients from the tree. Eventually, a strangler fig kills its host tree by squeezing its trunk and sucking out all of its nutrients. That's crazy. The strangler fig's roots take in nutrients from the tree it grows on. And here's a picture. And eventually it'll kill the tree and then it'll move on. What plant can be found in rainforests? Rainforest soil does not contain many nutrients. Plants adapt to get nutrients from ground plants that die and decay. The dead matter settles in the top layer of soil. Trees and plants take in these nutrients through shallow roots. Thick green or woody vines are a common sight in the rainforest. Vines are plants that attach to other plants. They climb up trees to catch the sunlight, but vines also serve another function. Monkeys and orangutans use them to travel from tree to tree. So there we have an example of a plant in the rainforest. One of the most unusual rainforest plants are epiphytes. Epiphytes are air plants that have adapted to living above the soil. They grow on tree trunks or branches, but they do not take in nutrients from the tree. They absorb nutrients right from the air and rainwater. Epiphytes include mosses, lichens, orchids, ferns, and bromeliads. Orchids and bromeliads bring bursts of color to the rainforest. Many orchids have striking, colorful blooms. Bromeliads' thick, waxy leaves form a bowl to collect water. Sometimes insects or tiny frogs live in this pool of water. So here we have the bark from this tree. It can be used to make a medicine that fights malaria, which is a sickness that usually happens, I believe, from mosquitoes. So, losing a link, healing plants. The Amazon rainforest has tens of thousands of plant species. Some of these plants can be used as medicine. There are rainforest plants that cure malaria and some that fight cancer. Many of these special plants cannot be found anywhere else in the world. Scientists believe many species of healing plants have not been discovered yet. But habitat loss is putting these species at risk. Many are dying out before scientists have a chance to find them. When species die out, we lose chances to save lives. What are the primary consumers in rainforest? Any organism above the level of producer is a consumer. Consumers cannot make their own food. They feed on producers or other consumers. Right above the producer in the food chain are the primary first consumers. Primary consumers feed on producers. They are herbivores or plant eaters. Many different primary consumers live in the rainforest. There are a wide range of plant species that support them. Some organisms remain in the canopy their entire lives. Others remain on the forest floor. Rainforest primary consumers include insects, butterflies, birds, and rodents. Remarkable rodents. One of the largest rainforest rodents is the agouti. Agouti? Agatus look like large guinea pigs. They have coarse, oily hair, small ears, and stumpy tail. They live in burrows or hollow tree trunks and eat fallen fruits and nuts. The world's largest rodent is a capybara. The pig-like creature has a shaggy red-brown fur. It lives in South America and can grow up to 0.6 meters or 2 feet tall. Capybaras feed mainly on grasses, water plants, and fruit. Sometimes they eat their own feces, also called poop. Please don't do that. Mrs. Weaver says don't do that. The poop contains bacteria that helps break down tough plant material in the capybara's stomach. Don't even joke. Don't do it. All right, rainforest ants climb in acacia plant. The ants live in the hollow thorns. So right here, these are hollow, and the ants live in there. That's crazy. All right, slow as a sloth. The three-toed sloth lives in Central and South America. It clings to trees with its clawed feet. It moves so slowly that aloe grows on its shaggy fur. This helps it blend in with the rainforest vegetation and avoid predators. This three-toed sloth sleeps up to 20 hours a day. Leaves and twigs make up its diet. So this is just over here talking about how the ants and the trees get along. The ants eat pests off the plant, and the plant provides shelter and food for the ants. All right. Rainforest flyers. Many flying creatures make their home in the rainforest. These include bats, birds, and butterflies. Bats. Fruit bats are an important part of the rainforest food chain. Some plants depend on the bats for pollination, fertilization. When a bat drinks nectar from a flower, it also pollinates the flower. Birds. The rainforest is alive with bird sounds. Toucans boast colorful bills and black and yellow bodies. They eat fruit, insects, small lizards, and eggs. They can warm up or cool down their bills to control their body temperature. Noisy parrots live in the rainforest around the world. They fly from treetop to treetop in the canopy and emergent layer. Their sharp beaks break apart nuts, seeds, and fruits. Hummingbirds are the smallest birds on Earth. They beat their wings so fast you can barely see them. They hover in midair and dip their long beaks into the sweet nectar of a flower, sucking it up with their long tongues. And this is a hummingbird sucking the nectar out of a plant. Butterflies. More species of butterflies live in the rainforest than anywhere else. The Amazon rainforest alone contains 7,500 species. A blue morpho butterfly has striking blue wings. Actually, the wings are not colored blue. Tiny scales on top of the wings reflect blue light, making them appear blue. When its wings close, the dull brown underside shows. This makes it hard for predators, such as birds, to see it. Adult blue morphos sip tree sap and fruit juice. And this is the scales right here. A broken chain. Fruit bats. In Queensland, Australia, fruit bats are at risk because of habitat loss. They cannot find enough pollen and nectar from their unusual plant sources. Or from their usual plant sources. Sorry, guys. So they head lower into the understory to eat wild tobacco berries. But this plant is home to deadly ticks that has killed many bats. Without fruit bats to pollinate them, many rainforest plants could die out. So that's an example of food chain loss. All right, we did pages 12 through 19 today. Here are our Cornell Note questions again. Make sure you write them down and you answer those. We're going to want those back. If you're doing it on notebook paper, you can take a picture and email it to your teacher. You can hold on to it somewhere safe, don't lose it, and give it to us when we come back to school. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment below. I'll try and figure out how to answer that for you. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Know that we miss you. Go Tigers. Bye, guys.